Kwanza kabisa, allow me to give Tena my apologies for coming in late. My elder sister, Her Excellency Mother Karoa, reached out to me and requested me to join into this conference. And I felt conflicted because I had already committed myself for another event, being a Friday. In my constituency, we hold funerals on Friday. So I had to delegate and do the siyasas of delegation. So my apologies. I'm very honored to be here to see very many women aspiring to become leaders in their own capacities and occupy the spaces available in women leadership. I'm elected in Githunguri, a constituency that is very rural, and rural women are naturalized to be assisters, helpers, but not leaders. But in Githunguri, we have refused. I don't know whether it is the cultural socialization that we have had. Women of Githunguri are matrons. We are the ones who run homes in Githunguri. We own cows, and the men talk about the cows in the shopping centers. But when they come to our homes, we are the one who milk, we sell the milk, and we demand for a share of our money from those cows. In Githunguri, we have refused to be naturalized as helpers. We have agreed with the women. And let me tell you, I did a lot of work for me to be accepted as a woman leader in Githunguri. I was the women rep for Kiambu, and I had to decide to grow politically and identify a single constituency where I will entrench my political roots. And when I went to Githunguri, no woman leader has ever been elected there. And so the men started talking, you know, we are not right for a woman, we can't be led. In fact, in Kikuyu, it sounds very bad. You know? You can interpret to the person who is next to you if you understand what I'm saying. It sounds very bad. It sounds very governor. We are branded Wakarinda. I know even Sisiri Balida was called Wakarinda. I was Wakarinda. Her Excellency Karoa was always a Wakarinda. And by the way, then she never used to wear skirts. She used to wear suits most of the time. But they also still had to look for a Karinda to give her. So be ready for that Karinda. But in Githunguri, I decided I am going to look for women leaders who believe in what I'm believing, to remove the women from the bank bench, to put them at the front bench. And I started off by going into the milk societies, the collection centers, and empowering women, whispering to them, why is the chairman of this correction milk center a man and he does not know how to milk? You are the one who know how to milk. How do you allow them to become the chairman of these collection centers? So I quietly went into those milk collection centers. I went into the women groups. In Githunguri, we had women groups, and then we have village welfare groups, which are normally very huge. They carry about 500 to 2,000 people. A welfare group where they take care of each other's harambes, funerals and weddings. I decided I'm going to make sure the women are the leaders of those big welfare groups. And so what I used to do, because I used to have money for GAF, the money that my sister Esther Pasaris has, and my sister Jeremiah has, and my sister Catherine Omanyo, who I love very much, I decided I'm going to use that money to change the narrative of leadership by using the money to control the welfares. So I went to every village, captured the welfare groups, and introduced a hema, a tent, into the welfare group through a woman, not through a man. So that, and I used to tell them, you know, GAF fund is not for men, it's for women. So every time the chairman would say, why is she bringing a tent through a woman? Then I would say, please, GAF is for women. So if you want me to give you a tent in this welfare group, you must give me a chair lady who is a woman. So I ended up changing all the welfare groups to be led by women. So, and every ward in my constituency, we have 2 large welfare groups carrying about 2,000 to 5,000. And I made sure that that welfare group has the bigger tent for the whole welfare and other small tents within the villages. And all those village tents, every village had 2 tents or 3 tents. The chair lady must be a woman. Okay? So when I decided now I'm going to ask for votes, it was so easy for me to go into the village and call the women and tell them, I'm coming to launch the tents together. So I would call the chairpersons of all the small groups and then the larger group, and then I would tell my women what I want, and I would sit like I am so nice and holy, and I would not say that I want to be an MP, and they will say that Gathoni is our MP. So that's how I did my campaign. I realized that the minute you go out there, and now I'm dealing with what you're calling the cultural, socialization and normalization. When you are a woman and you walk into the village and tell them, I want to be your MP, you will not get any votes. Because the men are already armed against you. So you have to look for ways of introducing your candidature to them through the back door. So I used to go and whisper to the women and tell them, when you speak, you say, you are so happy that now you have a tent and you would love Gathoni to be your MP so that she can give you the PA system for the next term. So they are the ones who introduced my candidature into those groups, and the men started hearing, oh, the women have their candidate called Wamuchomba. And then they would say, do you think the woman can do it? And then the woman would say, yes, she already gave us something. She already came to our home. She already gave us this and this. So they are the ones who actually proposed my candidature. By the time I went announcing, we were already doing party nominations. So my enemies had not chance to fight me because I hid my candidature under the women who whisper. Wamama hoy! Oh. Now, so the problem we have in Kajiado, and the problem we have in very many other rural communities that we represent here, is that we have normalized male patronage in the political space. It is so normal for you to talk about paterida, my paterida, Kadre Nomanyo, my paterida, Jeremiah, my paterida. And every time you say my paterida, you're actually telling Kenya, you can't make a decision against your party leader. You can't go against your party leader's ambitions and expectations. You can't dance the way your party leader doesn't want you to dance. Hell, we must stop this. We must come out of this. The minute we patronize political space and allow the men to be the patrons, we are done. I'm sorry, I have no apologies to make, but I have apologies for the women who are in the room here from other political parties other than UDA. Please listen to me. I come from a political party called UDA. My political party leader pledged and signed a charter with women on what he's going to do once he becomes president. That women charter promised many things for women. We are now down 2 years, and those that we signed a charter with a signature in front of those cameras, none has been done. Why hasn't it not been done? Because we have allowed men to patronize women political space. His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, Baba, decided he has nothing much to offer to the women, but he can only make sure that our retention strategy in the previous National Assembly, retaining the women that were already there, he made sure he walked the talk. And he allowed the women, he allowed the women who are in that National Assembly, and one of them being here, Honorable Esther Passaris, not to go through the greasy party nominations, and allowed them to fight for the space when they were already there. The women of UDA and many other parties were taken through nominations. So we ended up losing. Strong women came in through UDA and other parties, but we ended up retaining so many women that were in ODM. Please let's appreciate Baba for that. Yeah. Now, when we go to the grassroots, pahali wewe uko na nguvu ya microphone, please, always tell the women not to allow men to patronize the political space. Let us also support women who have the capacity to run political parties like Her Excellency Mother Wangari Karua, so that we can all run to such parties that have spaces for women and understand where women are coming from. You cannot be elected as a president. You own a party, you are the political party leader, but you're writing an executive order to parliament to order parliament to nominate more women into that parliament, yet you had an opportunity to allow more women to be elected through your own party. It's hypocritical. So what is our work here? If really want more women in parliament, if we want to retain the women we have right now in parliament, we must make sure in the next coming elections, we are in charge of the political spaces, and we are not patronized by men. However, we must also struggle to adopt men as ambassadors of women in political spaces, so that they can be men for women in political spaces. I wish I had more time. I would talk forever. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. That was quite fiery, and you've ushered us into the next question, which Mheshimiwa Beth will handle, and it's on the multi-sector working group that has been tasked with implementing the 2/3 gender rule in Kenya. And could you share any initiative? I think you are best placed to answer this question. Affirmative actions, such as the county women's seats, have been crucial steps towards achieving a more balanced parliament. However, these seats are now being challenged, and surprisingly, some women themselves are calling for their annulment. How can we address their position? You see, most people say, "Yokite inakazi." So how can you address this opposition and ensure that the gains in gender representation are preserved and strengthened?
Wow, that's a very in-depth question. First of all, allow me to just be very candid on this one. Much respect to the women who are nominated in county assemblies, in National Assembly, in National Senate, and any other opportunity that is available for nomination. But I want us to ask ourselves, before we even ask whether we can achieve the 2/3 in the National Assembly, how many of those that are nominated get to be elected? Let's start there. For example, last parliament, Honorable Esther Passaris can bear me witness, we had, I think, 11 nominated members of parliament, nominated by political parties. How many of those 11 were elected back into that National Assembly or into the Senate? I think we only got one. No. The nominated, none came back. But the ones who were in the Senate, one came down to the National Assembly. Remember, I'm not talking about the Senate numbers. I'm talking about the National Assembly numbers. So could we ask ourselves, from the days of Mother Karua's aggressive activism, where we were able to get this opportunity to be nominated, because it is their efforts, the generation of the late Wangari Maathai, the Mother Karua's, the Charity Ngilu, those are the women who fought for what we are enjoying today. From then, when we started getting these opportunities, what is the milestone? Have we achieved? Should we maybe sit back and now revisit this issue and come up with another strategy of bringing more women into the political limelight so that they can get elected? I think this is something we need to really think very hard, because you cannot be perennially, every cycle of parliament. I can see Daisy is looking at me so worried, because she's one of those that really fights for women to be nominated so that they can get visibility, so that they can get network, so that they can be elected and be motivated. But are we getting it right? How many years? Please remember, the seat for women rep is on the sunset clause. Is that not true for lawyers in the house? Jockey Boshe, where are you? You are the lawyer in the house. Yeah, the seat for women rep is on the sunset clause. Not yet. Oh, they removed it. But let's not even assume that whether it's there or not. Are we doing it the right way? Nominating 5 years, then we lose the whole lot. Then we nominate afresh. 5 years, then we lose the whole lot. I think we may need to decide on another strategy. And that is one of the challenges I would want to throw into this conference. Going forward, let us sit and discuss on other ways and strategies we can use to have more numbers. Now, the other strategy I would want to throw into the works today is the retention strategy. Retention. She is freshly elected. Jerry Minor is freshly elected. A Gen Z, 28 years old. We are so proud of her. If I had money, I would be traveling with her every corner of this country to tell young women of Kenya, it can be done. Let's appreciate this girl. Now, what should we do for Jerry Minor to be re-elected? Because she's too young. She needs to be in that parliament. She's a lawyer. She's intelligent. She's got all what it takes. What should we do for her to be retained? So a retention strategy is needed. Let us not assume because Esther Passaris has been elected twice, that time it will be a walk in the park. No, don't assume because Gathoni is elected twice, she's okay, she's a fighter, she will win again. No. Let us come up with a retention strategy, both for county assemblies, for National Assembly, and for the Senate. And even for the governors, by the way. We need to come up with a retention strategy. But I want to speak to the women in the room. I want to talk to you. Please, I have heard her say, I am a woman. I'm proud to be a woman. By the way, when I'm in the constituency, huwa nasimama hivi naambia watu, hata kama wazee wako hapo, hii skirts, hii kerinda, hii kerinda, I own it 100%. Na huwa naifanya tu hivi, naambia wamama na wazee, hii kerinda hii, I'm proud to be a woman. But I don't want you to refer to me as a woman when we go to a negotiation table. I want you to refer to me as a leader, MP. Don't call me a woman when you go to the negotiation table. Now, our problem is this. Shida yangu unajua mimi huwa naongea sana. When we sit in parliament and the Speaker of the National Assembly points at Esther Passaris and say, what are you saying, you mama? You mama. Because my speaker has done it twice, by the way, and this is not even, it is factual, it is there in the Hansard. When you sit and call women in the political circles as tags as mama, hold on mama, mama for Joro, hold on, I will come back to you. Who is mama in the National Assembly? I am an MP, like any other MP in the room. So when we normalize such kind of tags, such kind of demeaning perceptions, then whenever we go to negotiation tables, we are suppressed the same way. Because you are mama. I have heard even my president saying, those women MPs. Why doesn't he say those male MPs? He keeps on saying, women MPs, women MPs. Hello, can you drop the word woman and call me MP? Because I so deserve to be treated as an MP. We must undo the normalization. That normalization of you are a woman, you are treated like a woman, you have to be given special treatment because you are a woman. We must put that under and fight it out on the parallel platform so that we can get it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. That got us really riled up. I ran for office in Juja, and among the key challenges that I went through was having a chief campaigner.
Martha Karua is not here. I wanted to say that Kirinyaga is a very unique county. Martha Karua got elected at a very young age, in her early 30s. So for me, it wasn't such an onerous task because someone else had done it for me. And the reason the people of Kirinyaga believed in a young person, because they voted me at 28 years, is because of the work that Martha Karua had done. So it is very crucial and important for us to see each other as a stepping stone. Besides that, of course, a challenge as a young person is financial constraints. I was running a campaign, I had no money. I was the chief campaigner, I was the chief strategist, I was the one who was mapping out the areas of Kirinyaga County. I was the one handing out the cards. I'd go to the markets, talk to the women, tell them, look, I'm young, but I am qualified, and I am a daughter to you. So I am urging you to support me. Young people in politics need funds. We all know that our politics is centered around money. So perhaps the start of the campaign is to ensure that we empower young women in politics financially. You've mentioned on the generational gap. I felt quite fortunate to have people to look up to, like Martha Karua. I know a lot of people perhaps did not have a mentor or a role model they could look up to. But I had sort of a mirage outlook and thought that, well, you get into politics and every woman is going to support you. And I think some of you know of a very infamous incident that happened to me last year, which was instigated by a fellow woman. And I thought, well, I thought I'm coming here, I'm just starting out. So why would I be attacked or targeted as a young woman in politics by a fellow woman? So we also need to have a conversation between the young and the old, because I believe that they can offer us so much. We do not want to repeat the same mistakes or reinvent the wheel. I can learn so much from Martha Karua, and I remember she just reached out. You know, we were from different political divides. She reached out, we talked for over 2 hours, we had coffee, and just that conversation, to know that she had nearly similar challenges. So that conversation needs to happen, and we need to see it often. We don't need to feel that the older women feel like we're coming to take in their space. There's so much space for all of us to exist and shine, because men look at each other as partnerships. They hold each other's hands, they support each other. We have so many men in the political arena. You saw the other day when the president was traveling and his entourage was all male. No one is looking at each other as competition. But then as women, we have been preoccupied with the agenda of taking the limelight and hogging it all to ourselves. And we can thrive and support younger women in politics so that we ensure that in future we have solid leadership that is founded on ideology, that is not afraid to speak out and represent and agitate for change.
That is really profound. Thank you, Honorable Njeri Maina. We are standing on the giants of the women who are ahead of us. Honorable
Wamuchomba, Wanjiko works in my office. So if she tells me time, she could not have a job tomorrow. And we all don't want her to have a job tomorrow. On a light note, so for me, I think it is very crucial for women to partner with men in politics. And oftentimes I look at men as partners or people that I can collaborate with. And this war will not be won if we look at it as if we are angling for who is number one, who is number two. I recall when I was vying in 2022, my father and I were very close. You know, he was a yin and I was a yang. And unfortunately, he had an accident and passed on 2 weeks to the UDA nominations. I had no money for campaigns, as I said. The governor had a candidate. My former boss, the former woman rep, had a candidate. So basically I knew no one in the political circles in UDA. I didn't know the top honchos. I was just, nilikuwa tu natembea kwa giza. So I looked for the current senator, Kamau Morango. And I had not even gotten well acquainted with him. But I had a sit down with him at a hotel in Kirinyaga, and I told him, you know, Senator, I'm a young advocate, and I have the passion to lead the people of Kirinyaga County. I have no funds, and I have no one who's holding my hand. So I'm requesting if you could support me and hold my hand, and in exchange, as an advocate, we can do a sum up of up to around 5 million work that I can do for you, because I know you do business. And I remember something very important that I had never heard someone tell me. He told me, if I am going to support you, I'm going to support you with no strings attached. I'm going to support you because you're a young woman and because I have 2 daughters at home. And I would want one day for someone to hold their hand and support them wholeheartedly. So for me, from that point, I began to look at the perspective of men as people we can bring in the conversation. There are so many he for she. There are so many men here, and I want us to clap for them and appreciate them. I meet so many fathers who tell me how inspired they feel just listening to me and watching me. And I know if we walk this journey together, we will go far. As I wind up, it is also very important for young women in politics to identify people who speak to their core fundamental values. A mentor is not just anyone. Not anyone is going to mentor you. I mean, they can mentor you to be some shady things I really don't want to mention. So you have to identify someone who speaks to you as a person. I recall a very momentous time at a crossroads, and it's quite interesting that Martha Karua just comes up in my conversation all the time. So the first time I really met her, we were having tea at some hotel. And a friend of mine, I used to be a musician back in campus. I've been a jack of all trades, basically. A friend of mine just passes by and sees me and tells me, niko na Martha Karua, tumeketi sijui wapi, mahali hapo unaweza tupitia ukimaliza chai. And I was like, okay, what am I going to say? So, because we, it's at that time in politics, it's heated up, we're in different divides. And I remember I just said, well, why not? Let me pass by, because it's someone that I have always looked up to and admired. And I passed by, and I remember asking, I don't know whether she remembers us having this conversation. I asked her, I was feeling like I'm walking on eggshells. I'm in a party, there's some things that I really would not agree with from a level of my conscience, and I really wanted to speak out and represent the people of Kirinyaga County in a very bold manner, because there's nothing demure about me. I'm very bold and articulate, and I really speak my mind. So she told me, just be authentic, be you. So I was trying to look for me and also survive in that political space. And I remember going into meetings and I was just looking at these people and I'm like, you guys, you have no idea what is coming for you. I am so loud and noisy. When you give me an opportunity to speak, you will be so offended because you are used to this girl who is tiny and smiling and pretty. And I was like, I am not anything like that when I speak. So let us look out and seek for leaders who speak to our core fundamental values that we can align with, that we can collaborate with, and form a formidable force. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful panel. Another round of applause for them. And for our moderator, Wanjiku Figa. Well done. A big round of applause for her as well. So if we can kindly ask the panel to stay on stage, we want to do a photograph, as some of you do need to leave. We'll ask elected officials to join them up on stage as we sort of arrange the chairs and do